The night sky above the Arecibo Observatory was clear and filled with stars as Dr. Alan Carter adjusted his headphones. Most of his colleagues had gone home hours ago, but Alan often stayed late. He loved the quiet of the night shift and the feeling that he was alone with the universe. A strange pattern of beeps came through his headphones. At first he thought it was just random space noise or perhaps equipment failure, but as the pattern repeated, Alan sat up straight. His heart began to beat faster. "That's not random," he whispered to himself. He ran the signal through various computer programs. Each analysis confirmed what he already suspected. This signal was artificial. It had a clear pattern that couldn't occur naturally. After 20 years of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, Alan Carter was looking at humanity's first contact. With shaking hands, he called his boss, Kate Summers, the director of NASA's SETI division. "Kate, you need to get here now. Bring everyone." "Alan, do you know what time it is?" Kate's voice was groggy with sleep. "I found something," Alan said simply. "Something real." Within 3 hours, the observatory was filled with scientists. They crowded around Alan's equipment, talking excitedly as they analyzed the signal. Kate stood behind Alan, her hand on his shoulder. "If you're right about this, Alan, nothing will ever be the same," she said quietly. The signal contained data, lots of it. As the team worked to decode it, they discovered it held detailed plans for building some kind of device. There were also star charts pointing to a location 37 light-years from Earth. The U.S. government quickly took control of the situation. They moved everything to a secure facility in Nevada and brought in their best scientists and engineers. Leading the team was Samantha Wells, a physicist known for her work on quantum entanglement. "We believe this is a communication device," Samantha explained during the first team meeting. "Based on these plans, it will allow real-time communication across light years, something we've always thought impossible." The world's governments argued about whether building the device was safe. Some feared it might be a trap or weapon. Others saw it as humanity's greatest opportunity. In the end, curiosity won out, and construction began under heavy security. It took 2 months of non-stop work to build the device. On the day they finished, scientists and military personnel gathered to witness the first test. Samantha made the final adjustments, then stepped back. "It's ready," she announced. No one pressed any buttons. No one turned any keys. The device activated itself, humming with energy. The air above it shimmered, and then a figure appeared, a hologram of a humanoid being with blue skin and 4 arms. Everyone in the room gasped. "People of Earth," the being said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zelek of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been identified as a resource-rich planet, suitable for harvesting." The room fell completely silent. "According to Galactic Treaty 7329B, we are required to provide notice before any harvesting operation. Your planet will be processed in one of your Earth years. This message serves as your formal notification." The hologram disappeared. For several seconds, no one spoke. Then the room erupted in chaos. General Paul Winters, the military commander overseeing the project, immediately ordered the facility locked down. The president was notified, and an emergency meeting of world leaders was called. Samantha didn't join the panic around her. Instead, she returned to her computer and began examining the data that had come through during the transmission. Something felt off about the message. Why would advanced aliens give them plans to build a communication device just to tell them they were doomed? After hours of analysis, she found it. A hidden set of data embedded within the transmission. Coordinates to a location within our solar system, near the orbit of Mars. "General," she called out, "I think someone snuck a message into the official transmission." Within days, an emergency mission was planned. The world space agencies pooled their resources to quickly retrofit an existing spacecraft. They named it the Unity, a symbol of how the crisis had forced nations to work together. Commander Jack Monroe was chosen to lead the mission. A veteran astronaut with 3 previous missions, Jack was known for his calm under pressure. His crew included pilot Lisa Blackwood, Engineer Greg Foster and xenobiologist Dr. Olivia Martinez. The night before launch, Jack sat alone in the observation room at the Space Center, looking up at the stars. His wife Nancy found him there. "You're thinking about not coming back, aren't you?" she asked, sitting beside him. Jack took her hand. "We have to try, Nance. If there's even a small chance of finding something that could help us." She nodded. "I know. Just remember you promised to walk Amy down the aisle someday." "Our daughter's only 16, Jack smiled. "I've got plenty of time." The next morning, as the Unity prepared for launch, the world watched. Never before had a mission carried such high stakes. If Earth was truly facing destruction, this small crew might be carrying humanity's only hope. The launch was perfect. As the spacecraft broke free of Earth's atmosphere, Olivia looked back at the blue planet below. "It looks so peaceful from up here," she said. "Hard to believe everything's in chaos." "Focus on the mission," Jack reminded her. "We've got 3 weeks to reach those coordinates and find out what's waiting for us." The journey to Mars' orbit was tense but uneventful. When they finally reached the mysterious coordinates, they found nothing visible. Sensors, however, detected a small object. "It's there, but it's hidden somehow," Greg said, confused by the readings, "like it's bending light around itself." Lisa maneuvered the Unity closer. Suddenly, the empty space seemed to shimmer, and an asteroid appeared where nothing had been before. But it wasn't a natural formation. The surface was too smooth, with what looked like a small entrance on one side. "It's artificial," Jack said, in awe. "Someone built this and hid it in our solar system." As they prepared to dock with the mysterious structure, emergency alarms blared through the ship. Their sensors had detected movement inside the asteroid. "We're not alone out here," Lisa whispered. Jack nodded grimly. "Let's find out who left us those coordinates and why they want us to know Earth is in danger." Jack led his team toward the entrance of the asteroid station. They wore their spacesuits with helmets on, not knowing if there would be air inside. Greg carried equipment to test the atmosphere, while Olivia brought scientific tools to analyze anything they might find. Lisa stayed behind in the Unity, ready for a quick escape if needed. "Stay alert," Jack told his team as they approached the entrance. "We don't know what's waiting for us." The door wasn't locked. It slid open as they got close, revealing a dark corridor. Emergency lights flickered weakly along the floor, casting strange shadows. The team switched on their helmet lights and moved forward slowly. Greg checked his equipment. "There's breathable air in here, similar to Earth's but with higher oxygen levels." "Keep your helmets on for now," Jack ordered. "We don't know if there are any harmful particles or organisms." They moved deeper into the station. The walls were made of a smooth metallic material that seemed to absorb their light. Strange symbols were carved into the surface at regular intervals. "I think these are writing," Olivia said, running her gloved hand over the symbols. "Nothing, like any language on Earth." They entered a larger room that looked like a control center. Screens covered the walls, most of them dark or cracked. Only one still glowed faintly, showing what looked like a star map. "Someone's here," Greg whispered, pointing to the floor. A trail of dark blue liquid led behind a console. Jack signaled for the others to stay back as he moved carefully around it. There, slumped against the wall, was an alien being. It had a humanoid shape but was clearly not human. Its skin was pale green with patches of scales. It had 4 fingers on each hand and large almond-shaped eyes that were half closed. The blue liquid seemed to be coming from a wound in its side. The alien's eyes opened fully when it saw Jack. It tried to move but winced in pain. "Don't be afraid," Jack said, though he wasn't sure the creature could understand him. "We're not here to hurt you." To everyone's surprise, the alien spoke in a raspy but clear voice. "You found my message. Good. There isn't much time." Olivia stepped forward. "You speak our language?" "I learned it from your broadcasts," the alien said with difficulty. "I am Kalev. Was an observer for the resistance." Jack knelt beside the wounded alien. "What resistance? Against the galactic hegemony?" Kalev nodded. "They destroy worlds, 16 civilizations. Gone. My people, the Narians, were the first. I've been hiding here, watching Earth, hoping your species might be different. Greg examined the alien's wound with a medical scanner. This looks bad. Some kind of energy weapon? Hegemony Patrol found me, Caleb explained. I fought them off, but too late for me. Not too late for Earth, maybe. Olivia knelt on Caleb's other side. The message from Ambassador Zellick said our planet would be harvested. What does that mean? They strip planets of resources, metals, minerals, waters, and biological material. Your people would be processed too. Nothing wasted. Caleb's voice was getting weaker. They follow their laws strictly. Must give notice 1 local year before harvesting. That's the only reason you still exist. Jack felt a chill run through him. Is there any way to stop them? Their technology seems far beyond ours. Caleb's eyes brightened slightly. There is. That's why I risked everything to contact you. The hegemony has rules. If a species can prove they've reached level 3 technological status before harvesting begins, they must be offered membership instead. What's level 3? Greg asked. Planetary. Shield technology, Caleb replied. Defensive capability that proves civilization is advanced enough to join hegemony as equals. Caleb reached for a compartment in his clothing and pulled out a small crystal. It glowed with an inner blue light. All the information you need is here. Shield specifications, locations of necessary materials, and diplomatic protocols to challenge. Your classification. Caleb pressed the crystal into Jack's hand. Earth has elements required, rare elsewhere in galaxy. With this knowledge, you can build shield in time, maybe. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the station. A computer voice spoke in an alien language, then switched to English. Warning. Hegemony vessel approaching. Estimated arrival, 6 minutes. Caleb gripped Jack's arm with surprising strength. You must go now. Take the data. Unite your world against them. It's your only chance. We can't just leave you here, Olivia protested. I'm dying anyway, Caleb said. My final act will be to cover your escape. Jack heard Lisa's voice over the comm system. Commander, I'm picking up a large ship approaching fast. We need to leave now. Go, Caleb insisted. My people fought separately and died. Your world must stand together. Jack stood reluctantly. Thank you, Caleb. We won't waste this chance. The alien nodded weakly. The station will self-destruct after you leave. It will look like an accident. The hegemony must not know I warned you. The team hurried back to their ship. As they undocked from the asteroid, they saw a massive vessel appearing in the distance. It was at least 20 times larger than the Unity, with ominous weapon ports along its hull. Maximum thrust, Lisa, Jack ordered. Get us out of here. The Unity accelerated away from the asteroid. Minutes later, there was a flash of light behind them. The asteroid station had exploded, becoming nothing more than space debris. Jack looked down at the crystal in his hand. It seemed impossibly small to hold the fate of an entire planet. Set course for Earth, he said quietly. We need to deliver this message. As they journeyed back, the crew took turns analyzing what data they could access from the crystal. It contained technical specifications far beyond Earth's current technology, but not so advanced that they couldn't understand the principles. If Caleb is right, Greg said, we have less than 10 months to build a planetary shield. Something no human has ever even imagined before. We'll need every nation working together, Olivia added. Every scientist, every engineer. Jack nodded grimly. And we'll need to convince world leaders this threat is real. He looked back toward the stars where Earth was just a tiny point of light. Our world is about to change forever. The Unity landed at a military base in the Nevada desert. Armed guards surrounded the ship as Jack and his crew stepped out. They were immediately taken to a quarantine facility where doctors examined them for alien contaminants. Jack kept the bière crystal from Caleb tightly in his hand, refusing to let anyone take it. General Winters was waiting for them after the medical checks were complete. His face was stern, but Jack could see the worry in his eyes. Tell me everything, the general Ordered. Jack described their meeting with Kalev and explained about the hegemony's plans. He showed the crystal to the general. Kalev said this contains the information we need to build a planetary shield. If we can complete it before the hegemony returns, they'll have to recognize Earth as a level 3 civilization and offer us membership, instead of destroying us. General Winters looked skeptical. And you trust this alien? How do we know this isn't a trap? We don't, Jack admitted. But what choice do we have? In less than 10 months, the hegemony will return with a fleet to harvest our planet. This is our only chance. The news of the alien threat was released to the public the next day. The president addressed the world, explaining the situation and calling for global unity. But the response was not what the world leaders had hoped for. Panic spread across the globe. Stock markets crashed as people rushed to sell their assets. Religious leaders claimed the aliens were demons or angels coming to punish humanity. Some countries threatened to launch nuclear weapons, believing it better to die by their own hands than be harvested by aliens. In this chaos, Frank Daniels, the Secretary General of the United Nations, emerged as a voice of reason. He was a tall man with gray hair and a calm voice that inspired trust. He called an emergency meeting of all nations. We stand at the most important crossroads in human history, Frank told the assembled world leaders. We can choose to fight among ourselves and guarantee our destruction, or we can unite and face this threat together. We fight together, or we die separately. His words resonated with people around the world. Slowly, former enemies began to work together. Nations shared their scientific and military resources. A global project to build the planetary shield began. Leading the scientific team were Dr. Ben Howard and Dr. Maya Peterson. They had been academic rivals for years, each trying to outdo the other in the field of advanced physics. Now they were forced to work side by side, studying the alien technology from Kalev's crystal. This is impossible, Maya said, looking at the shield specifications. The energy requirements alone would need 10 times the current output of every power plant, on Earth combined, Ben nodded. And these materials, some of them don't even exist on Earth. Actually, they do. Samantha Wells joined them, carrying a tablet with data from the crystal. According to Kalev's information, Earth has rare deposits of all the necessary elements. They're just not where we've been looking. The crystal contained maps showing the locations of these rare elements. They were mostly deep in the ocean or buried under remote areas. Teams were dispatched around the world to mine these resources. Meanwhile, Colonel Susan Richards was put in charge of preparing Earth's military defenses. She began training international forces for potential combat against alien invaders. Naval crews learned to operate ships upgraded with technology derived from Kalev's data. We need to be ready for the worst, Susan told her officers. If the shield fails, we'll be the last line of defense. Progress on the shield was moving forward, but not quickly enough. 5 months had passed since the hegemony's message, and the shield network was only 30% complete. Engineers worked around the clock at sites around the world, building massive generators to power the shield. Then the sabotage began. A cult calling themselves the Cleansing Flame believed the aliens were divine punishers sent to cleanse Earth of sin. They saw the SHIELD project as an act against God's will. They bombed a SHIELD facility in Kenya, killing 12 scientists and destroying months of work. Frank Daniels traveled to the cult's compound in Arizona. Against the advice of his security team, he went alone to meet with Joseph Ward, the leader of the Cleansing Flame. You have every right to your beliefs, Frank told Joseph. But consider this. If God wanted to end humanity, would he need aliens to do it? Perhaps these aliens are a test. Perhaps saving ourselves is exactly what we're meant to do. The conversation lasted for hours. By the end, Joseph agreed to stop the attacks. Some saw it as a miracle, but Frank knew it was simply about finding common ground, even with those whose views seemed completely opposite to his own. 7 months after the warning, a new problem emerged. Ben and Maya discovered that the shield as designed would fail after only a few hours. There's a flaw in the energy distribution system, Maya explained to the project leaders. When the shield is hit with enough force, it will collapse. Can you fix it? Frank asked. Ben shook his head. Not with our current understanding of the technology. We need more time. Time is the one thing we don't have, General Winters said grimly. The hegemony will be here in less than 3 months. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She walked through the empty lab looking at their work. Ben was there too, staring at simulations on a computer screen. I've been thinking, Maya said slowly. What if we're approaching this wrong? We've been trying to build exactly what's in Kalev's specs, but what if we combine it with human technology? Ben looked up, suddenly interested. What do you mean? Our understanding of quantum mechanics is different from theirs. If we integrate our approach with their design, they worked through the night, combining alien concepts with human science. By morning, they had a new design that their simulations showed would hold. It might actually work, Ben said, amazed. We just needed to see it from both perspectives. As word of their breakthrough spread, a new sense of hope emerged. The SHIELD project accelerated. Nations contributed more resources, even ordinary. Citizens volunteered, helping in any way they could. With 1 month to spare, the global SHIELD network was completed. Massive generators were positioned around the world, ready to create an energy field that would surround the entire planet. Frank, Daniels addressed the world again. Tomorrow we will activate the SHIELD for the first test. If it works, we will have achieved something remarkable, not just a defense against the hegemony, but proof that humanity can unite for a common purpose. As the sun set around the world, people looked up at the sky, wondering what the next day would bring. The stars seemed both beautiful and threatening now. Somewhere up there, the hegemony was coming, but for the first time since receiving their warning, Earth was ready to fight back. The day of the SHIELD test arrived. Scientists and government officials gathered at the main control center in Geneva, Switzerland. Screens showed similar control rooms in Beijing, Moscow, Washington, and other major cities around the world. Each location controlled a section of the planetary SHIELD network. Ben and Maya stood together at the main console. Despite their months of work, they looked nervous. Are we really ready for this? Maya whispered. Ben nodded. As ready as we'll ever be. Frank Daniels stepped onto a platform where cameras broadcast his image worldwide. Billions of people watched, from their homes, waiting to see if humanity's great project would succeed. Today we test our SHIELD, Frank announced. But we test something more important as well, our ability to stand together as one people of Earth. He nodded to Ben and Maya. Begin the sequence. Ben took a deep breath and pressed his palm against the scanner. Maya did the same. The computer recognized them and unlocked the startup sequence. All stations report status, Ben called out. One by one, control centers around the world confirmed they were ready. When the last station reported in, Maya entered the final command. SHIELD activation in 3, 2, 1. Now. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the lights in the building dimmed. Outside, the sky began to shimmer with a faint blue light. It spread from horizon to horizon, growing stronger until it covered the entire visible sky. In space, astronauts on the International Space Station watched as a transparent blue energy field expanded around the planet. It looked like Earth was wrapped in a thin bubble. SHIELD stable at 100% capacity, Ben announced. The room erupted in cheers. Now we test its strength, Maya said. She turned to Admiral Susan Richards, who stood nearby. Admiral, you may proceed with the weapons test. Susan spoke into her communication device. All ships, you are cleared to fire test missiles at the SHIELD. Sequence Alpha. Military ships positioned around the world launched missiles toward the SHIELD. On the screens, everyone watched as the missiles hit the energy field and exploded harmlessly. The SHIELD rippled but held firm. SHIELD holding at 98% capacity, Ben reported. Energy distribution is working exactly as planned. Frank stepped forward again. People of Earth, the test is successful. We have our SHIELD. Celebrations broke out across the planet. For the first time since learning about the hegemony threat, people felt hope. But the celebration didn't last long. 2 weeks later, Earth's deep space monitoring stations detected multiple objects entering the solar system. The objects were massive, each larger than the largest city on Earth. There were 50 of them. The Hegemony fleet has arrived, General Winters announced grimly. 2 months earlier than expected, emergency meetings were held around the world. The shield was online and working, but no one knew if it would hold against the full might of the Hegemony's weapons. Admiral Richards prepared Earth's defense fleet. Though small compared to the alien armada, the ships had been upgraded with technology derived from Kalev's data. "Remember your training," Susan told her crews. "We may be outnumbered, but we're fighting for our home." The Hegemony ships took position around Earth, forming a ring in high orbit. Then the communication device in Nevada activated again. Ambassador Zelek's hologram appeared, this time in multiple locations around the world. "People of Earth," Zelek said, his forearms moving in complex gestures. "Our harvesting fleet has arrived. We notice you have developed some form of defensive technology, impressive but ultimately futile. Prepare for harvesting to begin." Frank Daniels stepped forward in the United Nations chamber, where one hologram was projected. "Ambassador Zelek, by right of Galactic Treaty 7329B, Section 142, we challenge our classification. Earth has demonstrated Level 3 technology and demands review of our status." Zelek's large eyes blinked rapidly, the only sign that he was surprised. "How do you know of our treaties? This is most irregular." "Nevertheless," Frank continued, reading from the diplomatic script Kalev had provided, "we invoke the right of technological ascension. You are bound by your own laws to evaluate our claim." The hologram flickered as Zelek communicated with his superiors. When his image stabilized, he seemed annoyed. "Very well. The Hegemony Council will convene to consider your petition. But be warned, if your shield fails our testing, harvesting will begin immediately." The hologram expanded to show a council of different alien beings. They spoke in their own language, which the communication device translated. It became clear there were disagreements among the Hegemony leadership. "We should simply overwhelm them with force," one council member argued. "They are clearly receiving outside help. This violates our protocols." "But the treaty is clear," another countered. "If they have the shield, they qualify for membership consideration." "Their shield is inadequate," a third voice said. "Test it, and when it fails, we harvest." As the council debated, Ben and Maya worked frantically at their console. They had discovered something important about the shield's properties. "It's not just defensive," Maya explained to Admiral Richards and General Winters. "The shield absorbs energy from weapons fired at it. We can use that energy." "Use it how?" Susan asked. Ben brought up a diagram on his screen. "We can create a feedback loop. When they fire their weapons, the shield will redirect the energy back at their fleet, temporarily disabling their systems." "How temporarily?" General Winters asked. "Minutes at most," Maya admitted. "But it might be enough time for Admiral Richards to lead a strike against their command ship." "It's risky," Ben added. "If the feedback loop fails, the shield will collapse entirely." Susan studied the plan. "It's our best chance. My fleet will be ready." The Hegemony Council finished their debate. Ambassador Zelek turned to address Earth. "Again, the Council has reached a decision. Your shield will be tested with a full weapons barrage. If it survives, your classification will be reviewed. If not," he paused, "harvesting will proceed as scheduled." The moment the transmission ended, Frank Daniels gave the order. "Implement the feedback protocol. Admiral Richards, prepare your fleet." Ben and Maya modified the shield's energy distribution system. Around the world, shield operators made similar changes based on their instructions. "Hegemony ships are charging weapons," a monitor announced. "Feedback loop ready," Ben confirmed. "All ships in position," Susan reported from her command vessel. Everyone watched the screens as the Hegemony fleet began to glow with energy. They were about to face the ultimate test, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. "Whatever happens," Frank said quietly, "we face it together." The sky lit up as 50 Hegemony ships fired simultaneously at Earth. Their energy weapons struck the shield with tremendous force. The shield glowed brightly, absorbing the attack. Shield holding at 85% capacity, Maya called out. Initiating. Feedback loop now. Ben activated the sequence. The shield pulsed, and streams of energy shot back toward the hegemony fleet. The alien ships jerked and trembled as the energy surge disrupted their systems. Now, Admiral, Frank ordered. Susan's fleet launched from hidden positions around Earth. They headed straight for the hegemony command ship, while the alien vessels struggled to restore power. Earth held its breath, waiting to see if humanity's desperate gamble would pay off. Admiral Susan Richards led Earth's small fleet toward the massive hegemony command ship. The alien vessel was 10 times larger than the largest human spaceship, but its weapons and shields were temporarily disabled by the feedback pulse. All ships maintain formation, Susan ordered. Remember the plan, we don't need to destroy them, we just need to deliver the package. Earth's scientists had prepared a special device based on Caleb's technology. It wasn't a weapon but a communications tool designed to hack into the hegemony's networks. As Earth ships approached, some of the smaller hegemony vessels began to recover power. They fired warning shots, forcing the human fleet to scatter. We need more time, Susan told her pilot. Take us in closer to the command ship. Her flagship dove toward the massive alien vessel, while the rest of the fleet engaged the recovering hegemony ships. The humans were outnumbered, but they fought with desperate courage, buying Susan the time she needed. On Earth, Ben and Maya struggled to maintain the shield. The feedback loop was draining its power faster than expected. Shield down to 60% capacity, Maya reported. We can't keep this up much longer. Frank Daniels watched the space battle on the main screen. Just hold it a little longer. Admiral Richards is almost in position. Susan's ship reached the underside of the hegemony command vessel. They found a docking port and attached their ship to it. Deploy the device, Susan ordered. A team of engineers rushed to the airlock. They placed the special communications device against the hegemony ship's hull and activated it. The device glowed blue, then sank into the hull as if it were liquid. Device is deployed, the lead engineer reported. It's breaking through their security layers. Across the galaxy, on 16 conquered worlds, something unexpected happened. The hegemony's communication network, hijacked by Earth's device, began broadcasting the Council's earlier debate. Billions of subjugated beings watched as their rulers argued about violating their own laws. The treaty is clear, one council member had said. If they have the shield, they qualify for membership. Their shield is inadequate, another had responded. Test it, and when it fails, we harvest. On world after world, beings who had lived in fear now saw the truth. The hegemony did not follow its own sacred laws. The broadcast continued, showing how the Council had planned to destroy Earth regardless of the treaty. In control rooms across Earth, warning alarms sounded. The shield was failing. Shield at 40% capacity, Ben announced. We're losing it. Frank looked grim. How much longer can we hold? Minutes at most, Maya replied. In space, the hegemony ships had regained full power. They surrounded Earth's fleet, weapons ready. Susan ordered her ships to pull back, their mission accomplished. Then something unexpected happened. The hegemony command ship sent out a signal, and all the other ships powered down their weapons. Ambassador Zelek's hologram appeared again in the United Nations chamber. What have you done? He demanded, his forearms moving in agitated patterns. You've broadcast our council's deliberations to every world in the hegemony. Frank stepped forward. We showed the truth. You don't follow your own laws. You were going to destroy us even if we met your requirements for level 3 civilization. Before Zelek could respond, his hologram was joined by others, representatives from the Hegemony Council. They looked worried, even afraid. Reports are coming in from multiple worlds, one council member said. Rebellions have broken out on 6 planets. Our garrisons are under attack. The Narians have destroyed 3 of our harvesting facilities, another reported. The Zentari fleet has turned against us. As the council members argued among themselves, Frank exchanged glances with Ben and Maya. Their desperate plan had worked better than they could have hoped. Finally, the lead council member addressed Earth directly. We are withdrawing our fleet from your system. The planned harvesting is postponed. The hegemony ships began to move away from Earth. As they retreated, Earth's shield finally failed, but it no longer mattered. The immediate threat was gone. 1 year later, Earth hosted the first meeting of the new Galactic Alliance. Representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species gathered in a specially built hall in Geneva. The hegemony had collapsed from within, its empire torn apart by rebellions. Frank Daniels, now serving as Earth's first galactic ambassador, addressed the gathered aliens. 1 year ago, we received a warning that changed everything. We faced destruction, but instead found friendship among the stars. Today, we formalize that friendship with this new alliance. Ben and Maya sat together in the audience. Once rivals, they were now partners in both work and life. They had spent the past year helping to adapt hegemony technology for peaceful purposes. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" Maya asked softly. Ben smiled. "Not in a million years, but I'm glad we did." Admiral Susan Richards, now heading Earth's new Space Defense Force, stood at attention as the treaty was signed. Her ships no longer needed to fight, instead serving as peacekeepers and explorers. The final speaker at the ceremony was a surprise to most humans present. Kalev, the Narian who had risked everything to warn Earth, stood before them. He had not died on the asteroid station as everyone believed. Though badly injured, he had uploaded his consciousness into an emergency beacon before the station's destruction. The Narians had recovered the beacon and restored him to a new body. "I chose Earth because I saw something special in your broadcasts," Kalev told the assembly. "Where other species surrendered to the hegemony, you chose to stand together. You did not simply use my warning to save yourselves, you used it to free the galaxy. For that, all beings who value freedom thank you." After the ceremony, Dr. Alan Carter, the astronomer who had detected the first alien signal, met with Kalev and a group of scientists from various worlds. They were working on a new project, a network of detection stations to find other developing civilizations before they could be threatened. "The system is online," Alan announced. "We're already picking up signals from hundreds of new worlds that were hidden from the hegemony." Kalev examined the star map showing these newly discovered civilizations. "And this time, when we make contact, we bring good news instead of warnings." As night fell over Geneva, Frank Daniels stood on a balcony, looking up at the stars. They no longer seemed threatening. Earth had faced its greatest challenge and not only survived but thrived. Humanity had proven itself worthy of joining the galactic community. A child's voice caught his attention. A young girl was pointing at the sky and asking her mother, "Which ones are our new friends?" Frank smiled. The question perfectly captured humanity's new outlook. The galaxy was no longer something to fear, but a community to join, all because of a single warning that had changed everything.